Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everybody to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we have a second edition of our, I don't even know, we don't have an official name for this yet. We should come up with that. Mini podcast, 5-minute podcast. Small podcast? I don't know.
I'm not sure which one.
We'll come up with something. I'm not the creative one here, so
yeah, we'll brainstorm later.
We'll find something. But today we're gonna debate a little bit. It's gonna be Donte Moncrief versus Michael
Donte.
Donte. I don't know who Donte is, but it's Moncrief versus Crabtree. This is one of the ones we posted up on Instagram.
People got heated.
They did.
They did not like my pick.
You were getting there for a little bit.
That's okay though. I will defend my position, but I understand the love for Crabtree. He's been underestimated for a very long time.
That's why I feel like I'm in a good place before we get going on this last one. Carr Cousins. As soon as you started spewing off cousin stats, I realized I don't have a stats based argument, and it's hard to not have a stat based argument when you're talking about fantasy football.
Yeah,
this isn't like just regular NFL football. You can't. I mean, fantasy football is completely stat based. So
I agree, and this one might go sideways on me, but we'll see.
All right. So here's why I think Crabtree is the guy, and
all right.
I have him, I believe, ranked about 18th. Moncrief I have down at 25th. So I have a decent. You don't have as much of a discrepancy between these two. I do.
No, I think I do have Moncrief one spot ahead of Crabtree.
And and we talked about on our breakout podcast, you talked about Moncrief, he could break out. He could break out. But when I'm getting a guy to be kind of I like my wide receiver 2-ish. That's what we're kind of ranked him. I want them to be consistent. And Crabtree's consistent. And you look at and I don't even need to spew off his actual stats for last year, but about 89 for 1,000, 85 for 900 last year. But the targets last year's in Oakland, 145 and 146. He's going to get targets. I think Cooper's going to be even better than he has been. I don't think he's going to take away a lot from Crabtree. I just think it's going to increase Cooper. I don't think Crabtree's going down. I don't think Jared Cook's going to take away from Crabtree. If he did, maybe 10 to 15 targets. He's still going to get 130. He's going to be up there. Yeah, Moncrief was hurt last year, I guess. I could say that, but he only had 56 targets. I mean, okay, he's hurt. It doesn't really count. He had 100 targets, though, in year 2. So that is, if we go to our basic third, fourth year receiver breakout, yeah, he could have that potential. But when I'm getting my guy down there, wide receiver 2, 3, especially 2, that's just kind of my strategy. Get the top guy. Wide receiver 2, I kind of want to be that safe guy. And 3 is where I get my breakout. That's the problem I have with Moncrief. I ranked him as a 3. You're ranking him as a 2. I want him as a 3. I don't want him as my 2. That's where I have it. So why is Moncrief? What do you think? You think Crabtree's too old? He's gonna be 30.
But he will be 30. But I'm not worried about that.
I'm trying to give you something here, Jeff.
I'm not as worried about that, and I think you kind of hit on it. And this is my thing as well. Crabtree, and we talked about this, right? If you're going to draft someone, you're not necessarily always drafting completely straight off your list.
Yep.
So Crabtree, if say you have more of a risky player, you want to buoy your team. Yeah, he's probably the guy you're going to go with because you can almost guarantee lock it down 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, right? Yep. That's pretty much what you can do. Will he deviate from that? He could go down a little bit. He could go up a little bit. But I think touchdowns will probably remain about the same from 7 to 9 maybe. And yardage, 900 to 1,100. We're going to be in that range. Yeah. I think Moncrief not only will hit that same thing, I think he will hit 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns easy, 8 touchdowns. If he plays a full year, as many games as Crabtree. We're comparing, apples and apples.
I don't like ever worrying about injuries.
Yeah, so. I'm not as worried about it. It was his shoulder last year that really messed him up.
But I think Crabtree's more reliable to be on the field.
Yeah, I would say reliable. But if you look at Donte Moncrief, Donte's numbers, the guy he's risen each and every year that he's played. This will be his 4th year. And the sophomore year is what really impressed me. That was when they brought in, and once again, just to reiterate, if you listen to other podcasts, you're about to hear me regurgitating a little bit. But the rookie year, he comes in 450 yards with 3 TDs, and he was playing behind Reggie Wayne and T.Y. Hilton.
Yep.
The next year, behind T.Y. Hilton as the number 1 now, and behind Andre Johnson, which was kind of a bust. But he picked up the slack, 64 receptions for 730 yards, 6 touchdowns. Yeah. And then his year he was hurt, He does. So it's kind of hard to tell. I'm taking a leap of faith, but 30 receptions for 300 yards and 7 TDs. And 7 out of 9 games he played, he had a touchdown. So we already know that's his role, right? Yep. He's going to be huge in the red zone. I don't think there's any way he falls below 7. I think that would be safe to say.
Yeah.
Especially if Luck is playing. And then, so you're telling me that he couldn't get back to, I mean, he's not going to go up in receptions from his sophomore year when he's actually the legit number 2, which he is behind T.Y. Hilton. Obviously, everyone's going to pay attention to Hilton, not necessarily Donte Moncrief. So really, all he has to do is increase his yardage by 250 yards from that sophomore season, and he ties him. He ties him. So I'm saying, yes, Crabtree, lock and load him. And there's a little bit of a question mark, but I'll take Moncrief and take that, I would say, a very good chance he ties him. And then I would get him because I think there's a good opportunity that he actually goes over that and he becomes a value pick.
And you look, I guess I can give a little case for Moncrief. Just his stat lines are very similar to a John Brown stat line. If you look at it from first to second with that downfall in the third because of injury.
I feel like John Brown is a weird one to bring up right now, but I'm just saying, I know you love him.
No, I think he has a similar stat lines. If I'm big on John Brown, I should be big on Moncrief. If you look at their numbers, they're very similar in what they did first year to second, with the third year being injuries.
Yeah.
So, but again, to wrap it up, that's pretty much where it comes down to. It comes down to what type of fantasy football player you are.
Yeah. Really. And what team you're drafting.
And what team you're drafting, and if it's your second or third. If you're actually looking at it as in you already have 2 good wide receivers and this is your third, maybe that's where you decide. Are you more conservative or you want to take more of a, it's not a big risk for Moncrief, but
I don't
more of a, you get the real safe, good option in Crabtree, or you go for a guy who you think's going to break out a little bit. People have different strategies, different ideas. I personally go for the safer route and the guaranteed points, and and I kind of look at Crabtree, even though I ranked him as a 2, I look at him as I still want him as my 3, and that's kind of how I look at it. And that's basically what it comes down to. I usually go the safer route. My wide receiver 4 is kind of where I go for the more of a risk.
And I get that. I just think, and I usually agree with you on that because I think we both agree that you want to build your team a certain way where you're not going to hurt yourself in the long run. Like, you have to build a whole team, one player is not going to make a complete difference.
Yep.
But I think his risk versus reward is just so good right now. It's such a good ratio. So I would take him. But like I said, I totally understand people that love Crabtree. And the truth is, to people that are saying he is overlooked, he is incredibly undervalued. I mean, he has always been because he's a very reliable wide receiver that only has 2 years on a capable offense now, and he's got 1,000 yards and 7-8 touchdowns each time.
Yep. All right, well that's it. Crabtree versus Moncrief.
We'll think of a title later.
I guess it could be the 8-minute podcast. That's about what it is. So we'll figure it out at some point. But it's Moncrief versus Crabtree, and I'm not even going to say his name anymore because I'm just going to mess up and say Donte.
Donte.
But that is it, and we'll see you guys next time.